Need to puree some carrots? Hey folks, SimplyThickJohn, I'm here to show you how to do it. The reason you'd be pureeing carrots most likely is that you have somebody who's on a dysphagia diet, and we're going to make our pureed carrots to comply with the standards of the International Dysphagia Diet Standardization Initiative. So I've taken these frozen carrots, I've microwaved them, and let's just put them in our food processor bowl. And this is going to be a pretty fast process because carrots just puree so easily. Make sure I get the blade in there and put the lid on, and we just turn it on. Now this will mince very easily, but it's not going to go down to a puree. So you can see we have a nice mince consistency, but because there's not a lot of moisture, just like when you're chewing your food in your mouth, to get it down to that fine puree, you need liquid. To get that puree, I'm going to add some extremely thick stock. And you can watch as I begin to add this, I can hear it right away. It's starting to process that down into a puree nice and easily. So we just stop that and we can scrape it down a little bit. I can see that it's going to need a little more moisture because it's, you know, you just begin to get a feel for this stuff. As you do it a few times, you will master how much you want to add. It really doesn't take very much liquid, but we'll add a little more. This was 1 bag of carrots. Very easy to do. You can see it processes quite easily. And I'm going to scrape this down one more time. Make sure I get stuff off of my scraper. So I don't have any big chunks because the puree needs to be smooth. And let's run this for just a few more seconds. Now, how do I know that I have a successful puree? I'm checking to make sure there's not any big lumps, that it looks smooth. I pick it up with the fork, make sure that there's no loose liquid dripping through there. I can see nothing's dripping and it's bridging the tines of the fork. And then when I pick it up with my spoon, I can see that when I tip it, there's not much residue at all. So it is not very sticky. It bridges that gap. You know, some people could look at this and say that they want to run it longer or add a little more liquid so that they get a little finer puree, and that's fine. You know, it just becomes kind of an opinion and a visual, how long and do you want to run it and how smooth and how fine. At its core, IDDSI says there's no bits, but then you run into this question of, you know, how big is a bit? And that's, you know, I can see these are smooth. I can see there's not really any big chunks in here, so I'm fine with this. And if you want to double check me and see that it's still not sticky, yes, it's not sticky at all. And it's still going to bridge that fork and not drip. So that's what we're looking for. When it comes to serving, in this particular case, I'm getting this stuff ready for a presentation in a couple weeks. And so I am just going to freeze it in a piping bag. And then when I get to the place where I'm going to give my presentation, I will thaw it out. And then I will have it ready to pipe out on the plates as we do our testing. And I will be able to make it look like little carrots. So I just have a small piping bag for one of these, for 1 bag of carrots. And I just put it in here. I like to have it inside the cup to hold it open for me. And that's what I end up with. When I put it in here, somebody taught me this trick on Instagram or TikTok or something, told me to just spin it, and you can see I filled up the tip, and now I'm just going to tie this off, and then I will label this as pureed level 4 carrots, throw it in the freezer, and then when I get to my presentation and thaw it out, it will be nice and ready to just pipe out onto the plates. Anyways, folks, for more great tips and information on how to make food that complies with the standards of the International Dysphagia Diet Standardization Initiative, please like, follow, comment, and do all that stuff so that we get the engagement. Thank you so much.